Shalom, shalom, YAHUAH. I hope all is well. So, what we're going to talk about tonight is something that I found in His Word that is just mind-blowing, and there's so much of it that I got to show you. I'm just going to have to be patient, take my time. I'm asking that you be patient and turn your ears on and open your eyes and let the Word of the Most High show you the secret of the Most High and show you how I'm pretty sure it has ended. But I wanted to show you this picture real quick because if you remember all the 42 talk I was telling you about the southern border, this is just more confirmation from outside of the Word that shows you that was true. I found this article that says June's 144,000 plus encounters is a 186% increase from the average number of June apprehensions from 2017 to 2020. Now this was just they just put that article out like last week. There's no coincidence that it says 144,000. I told you that whole charade with the Title 42 and all that stuff, it's about this whole thing. I've been telling you guys, this is the dragon being wroth with the woman and the remnant of her seed. But I'm here to tell you, once you see what the secret of the Most High is, you're going to know that it's way bigger than that as well. Hold tight. Right here in Revelations chapter 10, verse 7, says, "But in the days of the sounding of the seventh messenger, when he is about to sound, the secret of the Most High shall also be ended, as he declared to his servants, the prophets." Now, I'm going to have to do some reading, so you're going to have to bear with me in order for you to see what this is talking about, and then we'll come back and get context, baby. Revelation chapter 10. But for now, let's go to Jeremiah chapter 30. Right here it says in verse 18, "Thus said YAHUAH, see, I turn back the captivity of Jacob's tents and have compassion on him, on his dwelling places. And the city shall be built upon its own mound, and the palace stand on its right place." Do you see that? You see that right there above that? In verse 17, it says, "This is Zion, no one is seeking her." Now, I'm going to read a little bit of this, Jeremiah chapter 51. And I need you to pay attention to a few key words. I'll point them out. You might want to get a pen and a paper to write them down. And when I tell you, beloved, that this is huge, I'm not exaggerating in the slightest. So let's read this and pay attention to every word. Like I always say, every word has to be acknowledged. Verse 1, "Listen to me, you who pursue righteousness, seeking YAHUAH." Is that you? Is that you, brother or sister? Are you someone who pursues righteousness, seeking YAHUAH? Is that you? And then listen to what he's saying right here. I'm telling you right now, if you can hold tight, you're going to see exactly why it is he wants you to listen. "Look to the rock you were hewn from, and to the hole of the pit you were dug from. Look to Abraham your father, and to Sarah who bore you, for he was alone when I called him, and I blessed him and increased him. Now, I've talked about this so many times. We've read it. You've been right here. If you've been around, and you probably have heard me read plenty of times where he says, in the end, he will draw YAHUAH out one by one. How many times have I said, if he made YAHUAH get up from Mitzrayim in Egypt, where they were in captivity, and come out to the set-apart land, that it would have to be that way, but one by one in the latter days. That's why he's saying, look to the rock you were hewn from, the place of your origin. Look to that. Look to Abraham, how he called him out of the land of Ur. Everything he ever knew, he had to leave, him and his wife, and go and just start wandering out through the wilderness, trusting in Abba. If you want to know what the secret of the Most High is, if you want to know what his word actually means, then hold tight and listen. For YAHUAH shall comfort Zion. He shall comfort all her waste places. For he makes her wilderness like Eden, and her desert like the garden of YAHUAH. Joy and gladness are found in it. Thanksgiving and what? The voice of song. That's one word right there. One word I want you to write down or keep in the forefront of your mind is song or singing. You're going to need to know what those words mean, what it's referring to as we go along right here. So now I'm going to take you back to Ezekiel, and we're going to pretty much start out right there in chapter 28. And trust me, you ain't listened to no preacher, you ain't did no reading, you haven't read no books, no one on the internet is talking anything that can even come close to how important this word is right here. Trust me when I tell you, prove me wrong at the end when I'm done. If I was BSing you in the slightest, come tell me about it. But you won't be able to. Ezekiel chapter 28 verse 1. And the word of YAHUAH came to me, saying, Son of man, say to the prince of Sor, thus said the Master YAHUAH, because your heart is lifted up, and you say, I am El, I sit in the seat of the Most High, in the heart of the seas, whereas you are a man and not El, though you set your heart as the heart of the Most High. Look, are you wiser than Daniel? Has no secret been hidden from you? If you're someone that's thinking, yeah, he don't know, he hasn't found what the secret of the Most High is, are you smarter than Daniel? Has no secret been hidden from you? Do you know all the secrets? Do you know the secret that I'm talking about right now? Trust me when I tell you, I'm going to show you what it is. But it's going to take some time. I can't just say it to you because you'll never believe it, because it's that mind-blowing. You have to get the context, baby. Trust me. By your wisdom and your understanding, you have made riches for yourself and gathered gold and silver into your treasuries. Remember that. Remember those words right there. The gold and silver into your treasuries. Write that down. By your great wisdom, by your trade, you have increased your riches, and your heart is lifted up because of your riches. Therefore, thus said the Master YAHUAH, because you have set your heart as the heart of the Most High, therefore see, I am bringing against you strangers, the ruthless ones of the nations, and they shall draw their swords against the loveliness of your wisdom, and they shall profane your splendor. Splendor, write that down. Keep that in mind. Down into the pit they shall bring you, and you shall die the death of the slain in the heart of the seas. Would you still say before him who slays you, I am the Most High, whereas you are a man and not El in the hand of him who kills you? The death of the uncircumcised you shall die by the hand of foreigners, for I have spoken, declares the Master Yahuwah. And the word of Yahuwah came to me, saying, Son of man, take up a lamentation for the sovereign of Sor, and you shall say to him, Thus said the Master Yahuwah, you are sealing up a pattern, complete in wisdom and perfect in loveliness. You were in Eden, the garden of the Most High. Every precious stone was your covering. The ruby, topaz, and diamond, beryl, shoham, and jasper, sapphire, turquoise, and emerald, and gold. The workmanship of your settings and mountings was prepared for you in the day you were created. You were the anointed cherub that covered, and I placed you were on the set-apart mountain of the Most High. You were on the set-apart mountain of the Most High. You walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. You were perfect in your ways from the day you were created, until unrighteousness was found in you. By the greatness of your trade you became filled with violence within, and you sinned. So I thrust you from the mountain of the Most High, and I destroyed you, O covering cherub, from the midst of the stones of fire. Your heart was lifted up because of your loveliness. You corrupted your wisdom for the sake of your splendor. I threw you to the earth. I laid you before sovereigns to look at you. You profaned your set-apart places by your many crookednesses, by the unrighteousness of your trading. Therefore I brought forth fire from your midst. It has devoured you, and I turned you to ashes upon the earth before the eyes of all who see you. All who knew you among the peoples were astonished at you. Waste you shall be, and ceased to be forever. And the word of Yahuwah came to me, saying, Son of man, set your face towards Sidon, and prophesy against her. And you shall say, Thus said the Master Yahuwah, See, I am against you, O Sidon, and I shall be esteemed in your midst. Now, I apologize. Remember the word Sor and the word Sidon. Keep those. These are key words that you're going to have to be able to reference and remember their meaning in order for you to get the secret and for you to live. Trust me when I say that as well. If you want to live, you best be taking notes. And you shall say, Thus said the Master Yahuwah, See, I am against you, O Sidon, and I shall be esteemed in your midst. And they shall know that I am Yahuwah when I execute judgments in her, and I shall be set apart in her. And I shall send pestilence upon her, and blood in her streets. And the slain shall fall in her midst by the sword against her from all sides, and they shall know that I am Yahuwah. And there shall no longer be a prickling briar, remember briar, or a paining thorn, remember thorn. Remember briars and thorns, remember those. For the house of Yasharallah from among all who are around them, who despise them, and they shall know that I am the Master Yahuwah. Thus said the Master Yahuwah, when I have gathered the house of Yasharal from the peoples among whom they are scattered, I shall be set apart in them before the eyes of the nations, and they shall dwell in their own land, which I gave to my servant Jacob. And they shall dwell safely, and build houses, and plant vineyards. Remember all these words right here. Vineyards, houses. Dwell safely when I execute judgments on all those around them who despise them, and they shall know that I am Yahuwah, their Most High. We're going to go back here to 27. I felt it was important that I read 28 before I read 27 to you, so you can get familiar with the language here. The word of Yahuwah came again to me, saying, Now, son of man, take up a lamentation for Sor. And you shall say to Sor, You who dwell at the entrance to the sea, merchant of the peoples on many coastlands. If you remember the other day, I told you about the word coastlands. Keep that one. Write that one down. Thus said the Master Yahuwah, O Sor, you yourself have said, I am perfect in loveliness. Your borders are in the heart of the seas. Your builders have perfected your loveliness. They have made all your timbers of fir trees from Sinar. They've made your trees of fir trees. So it's saying they planted trees, right? Yes. They took a cedar from Lebanon. Remember cedars from Lebanon to make a mast for you. From the oaks of Bashan they made your oars. They made your deck with ivory from the coast of Kittim. A fine embroidered linen from Mitzrayim was your sail to serve you as a banner. Remember banner. And you should know what it means when at any time it talks about fine linen. You should know what that means. If you don't, I'll tell you right now. It means righteousness. So he's saying, you took from Egypt, from Mitzrayim, your righteousness. And that was your sail to serve you as what? A banner. So it's saying that Sor lifted up a banner saying that it was righteous. That's what it's saying. Of blue and purple from the coast of Elisha was your covering. The inhabitants of Sidon and Arwad, remember all these names of these towns and locations. Arwad were your seamen. Your wise men, O Sor, were in you. They were your sailors. The elders of Gabal, remember Gabal, and its wise men were in you, repairing your seams. All the ships of the sea and their seamen were in you to trade your merchandise. You remember how many times have I said that all words are necessary? If you're like me, you probably have read this lots of times and just thought that there was no reason, like no real significant reason for you to understand and read that Persia and Lud and Put and everything. But I'm telling you right now, you best reconsider, because they're all life or death. Prove me wrong. Those from Persia, Lud and Put were in your army as men of battle. Shield and helmet they hung up within you. You should know what the shield and the helmet means. The shield is the helmet of faith. And I can't remember what the shield is. We'll go look at that later. You're going to need to know all that too. Trust me, because that's what it's talking about right here. Hung up within you, they gave splendor to you. Remember that key word, splendor. The sons of Arwad and your army were on your walls all around, and the Gamadites were in your towers. They hung their shields on your walls all around. They perfected your loveliness. Tarshish was your merchant because of your great wealth. They gave you silver, iron, tin, and lead for your merchandise. Yawan, Tubal, Meshech were your traders. They exchanged slaves and objects of bronze for your merchandise. Those from the house of Togarmah exchanged horses and horsemen and mules for your merchandise. The men of Dedan traded with you. Many isles were your market. They brought you ivory, tusk, and ebony as payment. Aram was your merchant because of the multitude of your works. They gave you emeralds, purple, and embroidery, and fine linen, and corals, and rubies for your wares. Yehuda and the land of Yasharal were your traders. For your merchandise they exchanged wheat of Minnith, and early figs, and honey, and oil, and balm. Damascus was your merchant because of the multitude of your works, because of your great wealth of goods, with the wine of Helbon, and with white wool. White wool is the same as fine linen. It's the same thing. Wadan and Yawan from Uzal paid for your wares. They exchanged raw iron, cassia, and cane for your merchandise. Dedan traded with you in saddlecloths for riding. Arabia and all princes of Kedar were merchants for you, and lambs and rams and goats, they were your merchants. The traders of Sheba and Ramah were your traders. They paid for your wares with the choicest spices and all kinds of precious stones and gold. Haran and Canaan and Eden, traders of Sheba, Ashur, and Kilmad traded with you. They traded with you perfect items and purple clothes, and embroidered garments, and chests of multicolored clothes, and strong twined cords among your merchandise. The ships of Tarshish were the travelers of your merchandise, and you were filled and richly laden in the heart of the seas. Your seamen brought you into many waters, but the east wind broke you in the heart of the seas. Your wealth and your wares, your merchandise, your mariners and your sailors, your repairers and seams, and your dealers in merchandise, and all the fighting men who were in you, and the entire company which is in your midst shall go down into the heart of the seas on the day of your fall, the coast shaking at the sound of the cry of your sailors. And all the oarsmen, the mariners, and all the sailors of the seas shall come down from their ships. They shall stand on the shore. They shall raise their voice and cry bitterly over you, and cast dust on their heads, rolling themselves in ashes. And they shall shave themselves bald because of you, and shall gird themselves with sackcloth, and they shall weep for your bitterness of heart and bitter wailing. And in their wailing for you, they shall take up a lamentation, and they shall lament for you, who was cut off in the midst of the sea like sore. When your waves went out by sea, they have filled many peoples. With your great wealth and your merchandise, you have made the sovereigns of the earth rich. In the time you are broken by the seas and the depths of the waters, your merchandise and all your company shall fall in your midst, and all the inhabitants of the isle shall be astonished at you, and the sovereigns shall be greatly afraid. Their faces shall be troubled. The merchants among the people shall whistle at you. You shall become a horror and be no more forever. Now look, we're in Hosea, however you say that. And we're probably going to have to read this whole book for you to get the gist of this. But like I said, life or death, prove me wrong. The word of Yahuwah, verse 1, chapter 1, the word of Yahuwah that came to Hosea, son of Bari, in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, sovereigns of Yehuda, and in the days of Jeroboam, son of Joash, sovereign of Yasharal, the beginning of the word of Yahuwah with Hosea. And Yahuwah said to Hosea, go, take yourself a woman of whoring and children of whoring, for the land has utterly whored away from Yahuwah. So he went and took Gomer, daughter of Diblaim, and she conceived and bore him a son. And Yahuwah said to him, call his name Yisrael, for in a little while I shall revenge the bloodshed of Yisrael on the house of Jehu, and put an end to the reign of the house of Yasharal. And it shall be in that day that I shall break the bow of Yasharal in the valley of Yisrael. And she conceived again and bore a daughter. And he said to him, call her name Lo Ruhamah, for no longer do I have compassion on the house of Yasharal, so as to forgive them at all. But I shall have compassion on the house of Yehuda, and save them by Yahuwah their mighty Most High, and not save them by bow or by sword or battle, by horses or horsemen. And she weaned Lo Ruhamah, and conceived and bore a son. Then he said, call his name Lo-Ami, for you are not my people, and I am not for you. Yet the number of the children of Yasharal shall be as the sand of the sea, which is not measured nor counted. And it shall be in the place where it was said to them, you are not my people. They shall be called, you are the sons of the living Most High. And the children of Yehuda and the children of Yasharal shall be gathered together, and appoint for themselves one head, and shall come out of the earth, for great is the day of Yisrael. Say to your brothers, O my people, and to your sisters, O compassionate one, strive with your mother, strive, for she is not my wife, nor am I her husband. Let her put away her whorings from her face, and her adulteries from between her breasts, lest I strip her naked and shall set her up as on the day she was born, and shall make her like a wilderness, and shall set her like a dry land, and shall put her to death and with thirst. And I shall not have compassion on her children, for they are children of whorings. For their mother has whored, she has conceived them. She who conceived them has acted shamelessly, for she said, I go after my lovers who give me my bread and my water, my wool and my linen. My wool and my linen. My oil is the desire to follow the word, and my drink, my wine, is my happiness. Therefore, see, I am hedging up your way with thorns. Remember, I told you to remember the word thorns? And I shall wall her in so that she does not find her paths. Let's read that verse 6 one more time. Therefore, see, I am hedging up your way with thorns, and I shall wall her in so that she does not find her paths. And she shall pursue her lovers, but not overtake them, and shall seek them, but not find them. Then she shall say, let me go and return to my first husband, for then it was better for me than now. And she did not acknowledge that I gave her grain. Grain is fruit. It talks about how he threshes us at the threshing floor. What is the wheat to the chaff? The grain, that's the refined product, the people of the Most High that have been brought to the threshing floor. The grain is the people, and the new wine, new happiness, and oil, the desire to follow his word, and increased her silver and gold, which they prepared for Baal. So this woman that he's talking about, this place and people, didn't acknowledge that the Most High gave her grain and new wine and oil and increased her silver and gold, which they prepared for Baal. Everything that woman or location had been given, she prepared it for Baal. Therefore I shall turn back and shall take my grain in its time, and my new wine in its appointed time, and I shall take away my wool and my linen, covering her nakedness. And now I shall uncover her shame before the eyes of her lovers, and no one shall deliver her from my hand. And I shall cause all her rejoicing, her festivals, her new moons, and her Sabbaths, even all her appointed times, to cease, and lay waste her vines and her fig trees, of which she has said, these are my harlot fees that my lovers have given me. And I shall make them a forest, and the beast of the field shall eat them. The vine and the fig trees, that's just like grain again, in a different context, and we'll get into that. Just remember vine and fig trees though. And I shall punish her for the days of the Baals to which she burned incense and adorned herself with her rings and jewelry. So the word, that the Most High does not lie. So I've said it countless times. You can't partake in these days, not one bit. He told you right there. He said, I shall punish her for the days of the Baals to which she burned incense. Burning incense, that's parable. I'll show you in here too that all this stuff that he's talking right now is parables. He admits it right here in his word and tells you that that's what it is. This isn't literal. Burning incense, he's not talking about putting the incense and burning it. He's talking about celebrating, giving any reverence, anything like that. That's burning incense. And adorned herself with rings and jewelry, and went after her lovers, and forgot me, declares YAHUAH. Therefore, see, I am alluring her, and shall lead her into the wilderness, and shall speak to her heart. and give to her vineyards from there, and the valley of Achor as a door of expectation. So he's going to give to her vineyards from in the wilderness a door of expectation. And there she shall respond as in the days of her youth, as in the days when she came up from the land of Mitzrayim. So you should know who he's talking about, right? And he hasn't said Yasharal. And it shall be in that day, declares Yahuwah, that you call me my husband and no longer call me my Bel or my Lord. And I shall remove the names of the Baals from her mouth, and they shall no more be remembered by their name. And in that day I shall make a covenant for them with the beast of the field, and with the birds of the heavens, and with the creeping creatures of the ground, when bow and sword and battle I break from the earth, and I shall make them lie down in safety. And I shall take you as a bride unto me forever, and take you as a bride unto me in righteousness, and in right ruling and loving commitment and compassion. And I shall take you as a bride unto me in trustworthiness, and you shall know Yahuwah. And it shall be in that day that I answer, declares Yahuwah, that I answer the heavens, and they answer the earth. Remember those two phrases right there. Remember what he's meaning when he's talking about answering the heavens and answering the earth. And the earth answers, and we're going to see what the meaning of that is, but remember those two phrases. And the earth answer the grain and the new wine and the oil, and they answer Yisrael. And I shall sow her for myself in the earth, and I shall have compassion on her who had not obtained compassion. And I shall say to those who were not my people, you are my people, while they say, my mighty Most High. Chapter 2, Then Yahuwah said to me, go again, love a woman loved by a friend, and an adulteress according to the love of Yahuwah for the children of Yasharal, though they are turning to other mighty ones and love their raisin cake. So I bought her for myself for 15 pieces of silver and 1.5 homers of barley. And I said to her, you are to remain with me many days. You are not to whore, nor become any man's, and so I shall also be towards you. For many days the children of Yasharal are to remain without sovereign, and without prince, and without slaughtering, and without pillar, and without shoulder, garment, or house idols. Afterward the children of Yasharal shall return and seek Yahuwah their mighty Most High, and David their sovereign, and fear Yahuwah and his goodness in the latter days. Hear the word of Yahuwah, you children of Yasharal, for Yahuwah has a case against the inhabitants of the land. For there is no truth or loving commitment or knowledge of the Most High in the land. Swearing and lying and murdering and stealing and committing adultery have increased, and bloodshed follows bloodshed. Therefore the land mourns, and everyone living there languishes, with the beasts of the field and the birds of the heavens, and the fish of the sea are taken away. However, let no one strive or reprove another, for your people are like those striving with a priest. And you shall stumble in the day, and the prophet shall also stumble with you in the night, and I shall make your mother perish. My people have perished for lack of knowledge. Because you have rejected knowledge, I reject you from being priest for me. Since you have forgotten the Torah of your Most High, I also forget your children. As they were increased, so they sinned against me. My esteem they have changed into shame. They eat the sin of my people and lift up their desire to their crookedness. And it shall be like people, like priests, and I shall punish them for their ways and reward them for their deeds. And they shall eat but not be satisfied. They shall whore but not increase. For they have stopped obeying Yahuwah. Whoring and wine and new wine enslaved the heart. My people asked from the wood, and their staff declares to them. For a spirit of whorings has led them astray, and they went whoring from under their mighty Most High. They slaughter on the mountaintops and burn incense on the hills, under oak and poplars and terebinth, because its shade is good. Its shade is good. Remember the word shade, covering. Therefore your daughters commit whoring, and your brides commit adultery. I would not punish your daughters when they commit whoring, nor your brides when they commit adultery, for the men themselves go aside with whores, and slaughter with cult prostitutes. A people that do not understand are thrust down. A people that do not understand are thrust down. Though you are a whore, Yasharal, let not Yehudah become guilty. Do not come up to Gilgal. Remember that name. Nor up to Beth Awen. Remember that one for sure. Nor swear an oath, saying, as YAHUAH lives. So if you didn't know what we just read, he was talking about his children, Yasharal. So that was a command. He said, do not go up to Gilgal, nor go up to Beth Awen, or swear an oath, saying YAHUAH, as YAHUAH lives. For Yasharal is stubborn like a stubborn calf. Would YAHUAH now feed them like a lamb in a broad place? This one's really important. You're going to want to remember Ephraim. Ephraim is joined to idols. Let him alone. Their drink is sour. They have whored continually. Her rulers wildly loved shame. A wind has bound her up in its wings, and they are ashamed because of their slaughterings. Hear this, O priests, and listen, O house of Yasharal. Give ear, O house of the sovereign. For the judgment is for you have been a snare to Mitzpah, and a net spread out at Tabar. And revolters have gone deep in slain. And I reprove them all. I have known Ephraim, and Yasharal has not been hidden from me. For now, O Ephraim, you have whored. Yasharal is defiled. You should know what that's saying, right? Their deeds do not allow them to turn back to their Most High, for the spirit of whorings is among them, and they do not know YAHUAH. And the excellency of Yasharal shall witness to his face, and Yasharal and Ephraim stumble in their crookedness. Yehudah shall also stumble with them. With the flocks and herds they go to seek YAHUAH, but do not find him. He has withdrawn from them. They have acted treacherously against YAHUAH, for they have brought forth strange children. Now a new moon shall devour them with their portions. Blow a shofar. Remember the words. Blow a shofar. Write it down. In Gabah, the trumpet in Ramah. Shout, O Beth Awen. Behind you, O Benjamin. Ephraim is laid waste in the day of rebuke. Among the tribes of Yasharal I shall make known what is certain. The chiefs of Yehudah shall be like those who remove a border. On them I pour out my wrath like water. There's a reason he said, who remove a border. Ephraim is oppressed, crushed in judgment, because he walked after the command when it pleased him. So I am to Ephraim like a moth, remember moth, and to the house of Yehudah like rottenness, remember the word rottenness. When Ephraim saw his sickness and Yehudah saw his wound, then Ephraim went to Ashur and sent to sovereign Yerub, but he is unable to heal you or to remove the wound from you. For I am like a lion, remember the word lion, and lion roaring, remember that phrase. It's life or death. For I am like a lion to Ephraim, and like a young lion to the house of Yehudah. I myself tear them and go and take them away, and there is no one to deliver. I shall go, I shall return to my place until they confess their guilt and seek my face in their distress, diligently search for me and say, until they diligently search for him and say, come, let us turn back to Yahuwah. For he has torn, but does heal. He has stricken, but does bind us up. After 2 days he shall revive us. On the third day he shall raise us up, so that we live before him. So let us pursue to know Yahuwah. His going forth is as certain as the morning, and he comes to us like the rain, like the latter rain, watering the earth. Remember the rain watering the earth. Remember that. Ephraim, what would I do with you? Yehudah, what would I do with you? For your loving commitment is like a morning cloud, and like the early dew it goes away. Therefore I have hewn them by the prophets, I have killed them by the words of my mouth, and my right rulings break forth as the light. Remember the light. For I delight in loving commitment and not slaughtering, and in the knowledge of the Most High more than ascending offerings. But like Adam, they transgressed the covenant. Remember, transgressed the covenant. There they acted treacherously against me. There they acted treacherously. He's talking about a location. The first covenant, the covenant was that I will give to you the land you are going to possess, that I have promised to your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's the covenant. Gilead is a city of workers of wickedness. Remember, I told you to remember Gilead, tracked up with blood. And as bands of robbers lie in wait for a man, so the company of priests murder on the way to Shechem, for they have done wickedness. I have seen a horrible matter in the house of Yasharal. The whoring of Ephraim is there. Yasharal is defiled. Also, a harvest is appointed for you, O Yehudah, when I turn back the captivity of my people. Whenever I would heal Yasharal, then the crookedness of Ephraim is uncovered, and the evil deeds of Samaria. For they have wrought falsehood, and a thief comes in, and a band of robbers raids outside. And they do not say to their hearts that I remember all their evil. Now their own deeds have surrounded them, they have been before me. With their evil they make a sovereign glad, and rulers with their lies. All of them are adulterers, as an oven heated by a baker, who ceases stirring the fire after kneading the dough until it is leavened. In the day of our sovereign, rulers became sick, inflamed with wine. He extended his hand with scoffers. For they have drawn near their heart. They have drawn near. Their heart is like an oven. While they lie in wait all the night, their baker sleeps. In the morning it burns like a flaming fire. All of them are as hot as an oven, and they consumed their rulers. All their sovereigns have fallen. Not one among them calls on me. Ephraim mixes himself among the peoples. Ephraim has become a cake unturned. Strangers have devoured his strength, but he does not know it. Gray hairs are also sprinkled on him, and he does not know it. And the excellency of Yasharal did witness to his face, but they did not return to Yahuwah their Most High, nor did they seek him for all this. And Ephraim has become a simple dove without heart. They have called on Mitzrayim, they have gone to Ashur. When they go, I spread my net over them. I bring them down like the birds of the heavens. I chastise them as their congregation has heard. Woe to them, for they have strayed from me. Destruction to them, because they have transgressed against me, and I myself have ransomed them, yet they spoke falsehood against me. and did not cry out to me with their heart, and when they wailed upon their beds. For grain and new wine they assemble themselves, they turn away from me. And I strengthen their arms, but they plot evil against me. They return not above, they have been a slack bow, their rulers fall by the sword. For the cursings of their tongues, this is the scorn in the land of Mitzrayim. Put a shofar to your mouth like an eagle against the house of Yahuwah, because they have transgressed my covenant and they have rebelled against my Torah. They cry out to me, my Most High, we Yasharal know you. Yasharal has rejected what is good, an enemy pursues him. They have made sovereigns, but not from me. They have made rulers, but I have not known. From their silver and gold they made idols for themselves, so that they are cut off. O Samaria, your calf has been cast off. My wrath has burned against them. How long shall they be incapable of innocence? For from Yasharal is even this, a workman made it. It is not the Most High, for the calf of Samaria is splinters. For they sow the wind and reap the whirlwind. You should know what the whirlwind is. That's Baal worship. The stalk has no bud, it yields no grain. If it does yield, strangers swallow it up. Yasharal has been swallowed up. They have now become among the nations as a vessel in which is no pleasure. For they themselves have gone to Ashur, a wild donkey alone by itself is Ephraim. They have hired lovers. Also, although they sold themselves among the nations, this time I shall gather them when they have suffered for a while from the burden of a sovereign of rulers. Since Ephraim has made many slaughter places for sin, they have been slaughter places for sinning to him. I have written for him numerous matters of my Torah. They were regarded as strange. For as my slaughterings, they slaughter flesh, and they eat. Yahuwah shall not accept them. Now does he remember their crookedness and punish their sins? Let them return to Mitzrayim, to Egypt. For Yasharal has forgotten his maker and has built palaces, and Yehudah has increased walled cities. But I shall send fire upon his cities, and it shall devour his strongholds. O Yasharal, do not rejoice with exaltation like the peoples, for you have whored from your mighty Most High. You have loved a harlot fee at all threshing floors. Threshing floor and winepress shall not feed them, and new wine shall fail in her. They shall not dwell in the land of Yahuwah, but Ephraim shall return to Egypt and eat unclean food in Ashur. They do not pour wine offerings to Yahuwah, nor are they pleasing to him. Their slaughterings are like bread of mourners to them. All who eat it are defiled. All who eat it are defiled. The bread is the word. Their slaughterings are like bread of mourners to them. Anything that you hear from them, or you partake in them at all, it makes you defiled. For their bread is for their beings. It does not come into the house of Yahuwah. What do you do for the day of appointment, and in the day of the festival of Yahuwah? For look, they shall go because of destruction. Egypt gathers them up, moth buries them, nettles, remember, nettles and thorns and briars. Nettles possess their valuables of silver. Thorns are in their tents. Remember that. The days of punishment have come. The days of retribution have come. Yasharal knows. The day of retribution comes when Yasharal knows. The prophet is a fool. The man of the spirit is mad. Does that sound familiar? Because of the greatness of your crookedness, and great is the enmity. The Most High's watchman over you, Ephraim, is the prophet, but a trapper's snare is in all his ways. Enmity is in the house of his Most High. They have corrupted themselves as in the days of Gabah. He remembers their crookedness. He punishes their sins. I found Yasharal like grapes in the wilderness. I saw your fathers as the first fruits on the fig tree in its beginning. They themselves have gone to Baal Peor, remember that name, and separated themselves to shame and became as abominable as that which they loved. Ephraim is like a bird, their esteem has flown away. No birth, remember these words, no birth, none with child, and no conception. Though they bring up their children, I shall make them childless, without man, for it is woe to them when I turn away from them. I have seen Ephraim, like Sor, planted in a pleasant place. But Ephraim shall bring out his children to the killer. Give them, O Yahuwah, give what? Give them a miscarrying womb and dry breast. All their evil is in Gilgal, for there I have hated them. Because of the evil of their deeds, I drive them from my house. No more do I love them. All their rulers are rebels. Ephraim has been stricken. Their root has dried up. They yield no fruit. Even if they bear children, I shall put to death the precious ones of their womb. My Most High rejects them because they have not obeyed him, so that they became wanderers among the nations. Yasharal is a degenerate vine. He brings forth fruit for himself. As his fruit increased, he increased the slaughter places. And the better his land, the better they made the pillars. His land. Their heart has been slippery, now they are guilty. He breaks down their slaughter places, he destroys their pillars. For now they say, we have no sovereign because we did not fear Yahuwah. What would the sovereign do for us? They have spoken words, swearing falsely and making a covenant. Remember what I told you the covenant was. The covenant is that he would bring us into the set-apart place, Zion. So he's saying they have spoken words, swearing falsely and making a covenant. Therefore judgment shall spring up like poisonous weeds in the furrows of the field. Weeds and thorns and briars, it's the same thing basically. The inhabitants of Samaria fear because of the calf of Beth Aun. For its people shall mourn for it, as well as its priests who used to rejoice over it, because of its esteem that has departed from it. It also brought Ashur as a present to sovereign Yareb. Ephraim does receive shame, and Yasharal is put to shame through his counsel. And remember, he just said this is about the latter days. So his children are put to shame through Ephraim's counsel. Samaria is cut off. Her sovereign is like a twig on the surface of the water. And the high places of Awin, the sin of Yasharal, shall be destroyed. Thorn and thistle come up on their slaughter places. And they shall say to the mountains, cover us, and to the hills, fall on us. If you ever wondered why it says a lot of times in the Bible, let the rocks fall on us, the mountains. If you stick around and you're paying attention, you're taking notes, you're going to figure it out, and it's not what you thought. I can guarantee you that. O Yasharal, you have sinned from the days of Gabah. There they stood, the battle in Gabah against the children of perversity. The battle in Gabah against the children of perversity did not overtake them. When I desire, then I bind them. As people shall be gathered against them when I bind them for their double guilt. And Ephraim is a trained heifer, loving to thresh grain. You know how they talk about the red heifer? And that's supposed to be the sign that they're going to rebuild the third temple or whatever. Well, that temple, the word temple, it can be changed out with the threshing floor. It's trained, is a trained heifer loving to thresh grain, but I myself shall pass over her comely neck. I put a frame to the yoke. Yahudah's plows, Jacob harrows for him. Sow for yourselves righteousness, reap according to the loving commitment. Break up your tillable ground. It is time to seek Yahuwah till he comes and rains righteousness on you. You have plowed wrongness. You have reaped unrighteousness. You have eaten the fruit of lying because you trusted in your own way, in your mighty men. An uproar shall arise among your people, and all your strongholds shall be ravaged as Shalman ravaged Beth Arbel in the day of battle, a mother dashed in pieces on her children. Thus it shall be done to you, O Bethel, because of the evil of your wickednesses. At dawn, the sovereign of Yasharal is completely cut off. When Yasharal was a child, I loved him, and out of Mitzrayim I called my son. They called to them, so they went from their place. They slaughtered to the Baals and burned incense to carved images. And I taught Ephraim to walk, taking them by their arms, but they did not know that I healed them. I drew them with ropes of man, with cords of love, and I was to them as those who take the yoke from their neck, and I bent down and fed them. No, let him return to the land of Mitzrayim, and let Ashur be his sovereign, because they refuse to repent. And the sword shall whirl in his cities, and it shall demolish his gate bars and consume their own counsels. Because of their own counsels. My people are bent towards backsliding from me. Though they call to the one above, none of them exalt him. How could I give you Ephraim? How could I give you up, Ephraim? How could I hand you over, Yasharal? How could I make you like Admah? How could I set you like Seboim? My heart turns within me, all my compassion is kindled. I shall not let the heat of my wrath burn. I shall not turn to destroy Ephraim, for I am El and not man, the set apart one in your midst, and I shall not come in enmity. Let them follow Yahuwah like a lion roars. Remember, I told you that's one of the most key things you need to pay attention to when he says lion roars. Let them follow Yahuwah like a lion he roars. When he roars, then the suns shall tremble from the west. Remember, tremble from the west. They shall tremble like a bird from Mitzrayim, and like a dove from the land of Ashur. And I shall let them dwell in their own houses, declares Yahuwah. Ephraim has surrounded me with lying, and the house of Yasharal with deceit. But Yahudah is still wandering with the Most High, and is true to the set-apart one. Ephraim is feeding on wind, and pursuing an east wind. All the day he increases falsehood and ruin, and they make a covenant with Ashur, and oil is sent to Mitzrayim. And Yahuwah has a controversy with Yehudah, to punish Jacob according to his ways, to repay him according to his deeds. He took his brother by the heel in the womb, and in his strength he strove with the Most High. He strove with the messenger and overcame. He wept and sought his favor. He found him in Bethel, and there he spoke to us. Even Yahuwah, the Most High of hosts, Yahuwah is his remembrance. Therefore return to your Most High, guard loving commitment and right ruling, and wait on your Most High continually. A merchant, in his hand are scales of deceit, he loved to oppress. And Ephraim says, indeed, I have become rich, I have found wealth for myself, in all my labors they shall find in me no crookedness that is sin. Just like that fine linen, they're saying they're righteous. But I am Yahuwah your Most High, since the land of Mitzrayim. Again, I shall make you dwell in tents in the days of the appointed time. and I have spoken to the prophets, and I have increased visions, and through the prophets I gave parables. Is Gilad wicked? Certainly they have been false in Gilgal. They have slaughtered bulls. Also their slaughter places are heaps on a plowed field. And when Jacob fled to the country of Aram, Yasharal served for a wife, and for a wife he kept watch. And by a prophet, YAHUAH brought Yasharal out of Mitzrayim, and by a prophet he has watched over. Ephraim has provoked most bitterly, so his master left his blood guilt on him and repaid him for his reproach. When Ephraim spoke, there was trembling. He was lifted up in Yasharal. Trembling. Remember, it goes hand in hand with a voice, a lion roaring. He was lifted up in Yasharal, but through Baal he became guilty and he died. And now they sin more and more and make for themselves molded images from the silver idols according to their skill, all of them the work of craftsmen. They say to them, let the men who slaughter kiss the calves. Therefore they shall be like a morning cloud, like dew that goes away early. Remember those words, dew that goes away early, and cloud, like chaff blown off from a threshing floor, and like smoke from a window. Remember that, smoke from a window. But I am YAHUAH, your Most High, since the land of Mitzrayim, and a Most High besides me you shall not know, for there is no Savior besides me. I knew you in the wilderness, in the land of drought. When they were fed, they were satisfied. They were satisfied, and their heart was exalted, therefore they forgot me. So I became like a lion to them. Like a leopard I watch by the way. Like a bear robbed of her young, I attack them and rip open the enclosure of their heart. And there I devour them like a lion, a wild beast, tear them apart. You have destroyed yourself, O Yasharal, but your help is in me. Where is your sovereign now to save you in all your cities, and your rulers to whom you said, give me a sovereign and rulers? I gave you a sovereign in my displeasure, but I took him away in my wrath. The crookedness of Ephraim is bound up. His sin is hidden. It's hidden. Pains of a woman in labor shall come upon him. He is not a wise son. For it is not the time that he should delay at the breaking forth of children. At the breaking forth of children. From the power of Sheol I ransom them. From death I redeem them. Where is your plague, O death? Where is your destruction, O Sheol? Repentance is hidden from my eyes. Though he bears fruit among his brothers, an east wind comes, a wind from YAHUAH comes up from the wilderness, and it dries up his fountain, and his spring becomes dry. It plunders a treasure of all desirable objects. Samaria is held guilty, for she has rebelled against her Most High. They fall by the word. Their infants are dashed in pieces, and their pregnant women ripped open. O Yasharal, return to YAHUAH your Most High, for you have stumbled by your crookedness. Take words with you and return to YAHUAH. Say to him, take away all crookedness and accept what is good, and we render the bulls of our lips, the slaughtering of your lips. Ashur does not save us. We do not ride on horses, nor ever again do we say to the work of our hands, our mighty ones, for the fatherless finds compassion in you. I shall heal the backsliding. I shall love them spontaneously, for my displeasure has turned away from him. I shall be like the dew to Yasharal. He shall blossom, like the lily. You should remember me talking about us reading from Song of Songs about the lily, and strike out his roots like Lebanon. His branches shall spread, and his splendor shall be like an olive tree, and his fragrance like Lebanon. He shall smell like Lebanon. Those who dwell under his shadow shall return. Under Ephraim's shadow they shall revive like grain and blossom like the vine and become as fragrant as the wine of Lebanon. What more has Ephraim to do with idols? It is I who answer and look after him. I am like a green cypress tree. Your fruit comes from me. Who is wise and understands these words, discerning and knows them? For the ways of Yahuwah are straight, and the righteous walk in them, but the transgressors stumble in them. You need to know those words. And we'll go back over them if you need to. But we're just going to keep going. The next book is Joel. Let's see what Joel says. The word of Yahuwah that came to Joel, son of Pethuel. Hear this, you elders, and give ear, all you inhabitants of the land. Has this ever been in your days, or even in the days of your fathers? Relate it to your children, and your children to their children, and their children to the generation after them. What gnawing locust left, the swarming locust has eaten. The swarming locust left, crawling locust eaten. Crawling locust left, consuming locust is eaten. That means it was destroyed. There was nothing there. Nothing left. Wake up, you drunkards, and weep, and wail, all you drinkers of wine, on account of the new wine, the new happiness, the new idea that makes you happy, that you give your time to. For it has been cut off from your mouth. For a nation has come up against my land, strong and innumerable. Its teeth are the teeth of a lion, and it has the fangs of a lioness. It has laid waste my vine and splintered my fig tree. It has made it entirely bare and cast it away. Its branches became white. Its branches became white. Wail like a maiden girded with sackcloth for her husband of her youth, for the husband of her youth. The grain offering and the drink offering have been cut off from the house of Yahuwah. The priest, servants of Yahuwah, have mourned. The field is ravaged. The ground has mourned, for the grain is ruined. The new wine has dried up. The oil fails. The farmers are ashamed. The wine dressers wail over the wheat and over the barley. For the harvest of the field is destroyed. The wine has dried up, and the fig tree droops. Pomegranates, also palm and apple tree, all the trees of the field are dried up, because joy has dried up among the sons of men. Gird yourselves and lament, you priest. Wail, you attendants of the slaughter place. Come, lie all night in sackcloth, you attendants of my Most High, for the grain offering and drink offering are withheld from the house of the Most High, are withheld from the house of the Most High. I'm going to keep going, but that right there should tell you why this is so important, that you begin to understand what the secret of the Most High is, and that it needs to come to an end with you. And if you don't think so, then you trust me, you don't want to be that person to give pay no mind at all to the house of the Most High. Set apart a fast, call an assembly, gather the elders, all the inhabitants of the land, into the house of Yahuwah, your Most High, and cry out to Yahuwah. Alas for the day of Yahuwah is near, and it comes as destruction from the Almighty. Is not the food cut off before our eyes, joy and gladness from the house of our Most High? The seed has rotted under their clods, rotted. Storehouses are laid waste. Granaries are broken down, for the grain has withered. How the beasts moan. The herds of cattle are restless because they have no pasture. The flocks of sheep also perish. I cry to you, Yahuwah, for fire has consumed the pastures of the wilderness. And a flame has set on fire all the trees of the field. Even the beasts of the field cry out to you, for the water streams are dried up. That's the truth. The water streams are truth. And fire has consumed the pastures of the wilderness. Blow a shofar in Sion. Remember I told you to remember. Blow a shofar. Because every time you read it and you see that, or you see roaring like a lion, it's talking about the Most High's voice coming from Sion, or that you should be in Sion blowing a shofar, waving your hand, counting the towers, and relaying it to the coming generation about Sion. And sound an alarm in my set-apart mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the earth tremble. Remember I told you about the word tremble and earth? It's not literal. For the day of Yahuwah is coming, for it is near. Remember I said life or death? This is life or death, and you're going to see. A day of darkness and gloom, a day of clouds and thick darkness. That means blind, like that you can't see. You can't see regarding whatever he's going to talk about. Like the morning clouds spread over the mountains. A people many and strong, like the like of whom has never been, nor shall there ever be again after them, to the years of many generations. Ahead of them a fire has consumed, and behind them flame burns. Before them the land is like the Garden of Eden, and behind them a desert waste. And from them there is no escape, no escape. Their appearance is like the appearance of horses, and they run like steeds. As the noise of chariots, they leap over mountaintops. As the noise of flaming fire consuming stubble, as a mighty people set in battle, hooray. The noise of flaming fire? He's talking about the noise they make out of their mouth is a consuming fire. The lies they tell you. Before them peoples are in anguish, all faces become flushed. They run like mighty men, they climb the wall like men of battle. Everyone goes on his way, and they do not break ranks. They do not press one another. Everyone goes in his path. They fall among the weapons, but they do not stop. They rush on the city, they run on the wall, they climb into the houses, they enter at the windows like a thief. Like a thief. The earth shall tremble before them. The heavens shall shake. Sun and moon shall be darkened, and the stars withdraw their brightness. Yahuwah shall give forth his voice before his army. For his camp is very great, for mighty is the doer of his word. For the day of Yahuwah is great and very awesome, and who does bear it? Yet even now, declares Yahuwah, turn to me with all your heart, and with fasting, and with weeping and mourning. Now, we might have to come back to that so you understand again what he's meaning by fasting. He's not talking about don't eat. He wants you to fast from something else, and we'll get to that. And tear your heart and not your garments, and turn back to Yahuwah your Most High, for he shows favor and is compassionate, patient, and of great loving commitment, and he shall relent concerning the evil. Who knows, he might turn and relent and leave a blessing behind him, a grain offering and a drink offering for Yahuwah your mighty Most High. Blow a shofar in Sion, set apart a fast. Call an assembly, gather the people, set the assembly apart, assemble the elders, gather the children and nursing babies. Let a bridegroom come out of his room, and a bride from her dressing room. Let the priest, servants of Yahuwah, weep between the porch and the slaughter place. And let them say, spare your people, O Yahuwah, and do not give your inheritance to reproach. For the nations to rule over them, why should they say among the peoples, where is their Most High? And let Yahuwah be jealous for his land, and spare his people. And let Yahuwah answer and say to his people, see, I am sending you the grain and the new wine and the oil, and you shall be satisfied by them, and no longer do I make you a reproach among the nations. And the northerner I shall remove far from you, and drive him away into a dry and deserted land, with his face toward the eastern sea and his rear toward the western sea. And his stench shall come up and his smell rise, for he has done greatly. I've been smelling it. I'm trying to get you to. And I'm giving esteem, all esteem, to Abba Yahuwah. Do not fear, O soil. Be glad and rejoice, for Yahuwah has done greatly. Do not fear, you beast of the field, for the pasture of the wilderness shall spring forth, and the tree shall bear its fruit, the fig tree and the vine shall yield their strength. And you children of Sion, be glad and rejoice in Yahuwah, your mighty Most High, for he shall give you the teacher of righteousness, and cause the rain to come down for you, the former rain and the latter rain as before. Wash the water of truth, washing away the dirt, the lies. And the threshing floors shall be filled with grain, and the vats shall overflow with new wine and oil. Then I shall repay you the years that what? The swarming locusts eaten, crawling, all the locusts destroyed everything from you. My army which I sent among you. Then you shall eat and be satisfied, and shall praise the name of Yahuwah your Most High, who has done with you so wondrously, and let my people never be put to shame. And you shall know that I am Yahuwah in the midst of Yasharal, and that I am Yahuwah your mighty Most High, and there is no one else. And my people shall never be put to shame. And after this it shall be that I pour out my spirit on all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, your old men dream dreams, and your young men see visions. And also on the male servants and on the female servants I shall pour out my spirit in those days, and I shall give signs in the heavens and upon the earth, blood and fire and columns of smoke. Smoke covers something. The sun is turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before the coming of the great and awesome day of Yahuwah. And it shall be that everyone who calls on the name of Yahuwah shall be delivered. For what? For on Mount Sion and in Jerusalem there shall be an escape, as Yahuwah has said, and among the survivors whom Yahuwah calls. So it's saying, as Yahuwah has said, and as the survivors who he calls have said, that there should be an escape in Sion. For look, in those days and at that time, when I turn back the captivity of Yehudah and Jerusalem, then I shall gather all nations and bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat, the valley of division, and I shall enter into judgment with them there for my people, my inheritance Yasharal, whom they have scattered among the nations, and they have divided up my land. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a young man for a whore, and sold a girl for wine, and drank it. And also, what are you to me, O Sor and Sidon, all the coast of Phoenicia, the coast? Are you repaying me? And if you are repaying me, I would swiftly and speedily return your reward on your own head. For you have taken my silver and my gold, and brought my treasures into your temples. And the people of Yehudah and the people of Jerusalem you have sold to the sons of Yawan, to remove them far from their borders. See, I am stirring them up out of the place to which you have sold them. I shall return on your own head what you have done, and shall sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the people of Yehudah, and they shall sell them to the Shebaites, to a nation far off, for Yahuwah has spoken. Proclaim this among the nations. Prepare for battle. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of battle draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. That means everything right now that you're doing, you shouldn't be worried about working. I'm not telling you to quit your job, but I'm saying this should be priority numero uno if you want to live. Hasten and come, all you nations, and gather together all around. O Yahuwah, let your mighty men come down here. Let the nations be aroused and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there I shall sit to judge all the nations on every side. Put in the sickle, for the harvest is grown ripe. Come, go down, for the winepress is filled, the vats overflow, for the evil is great. Crowds in the valley of decision, for the day of Yahuwah is near in the valley of decision. Sun and moon shall become dark, and stars shall withdraw their brightness. That means, that's not talking literal. That means that it's going to be hard for you to see, for people to see. And trust me, no one pretty much is seeing it. And Yahuwah shall roar like a lion from Sion. See, I wasn't lying. Every time. And give forth his voice from Jerusalem. That's what you're hearing right now. And the heavens and the earth shall shake. That doesn't mean an earthquake. That means the truth comes down from heaven. And the earth, the way you have known it to be, shall be shaken. Your reality of what the earth looks like, just like it was when you found out that we're not on a ball spinning at 1,000,000 gazillion miles an hour out through outer space, circling the sun. When you realized that that was all lie, that the heavens were shaken. The reality of it, the reality that that's a lie, was given to you. The same with the earth. But Yahuwah shall be a refuge for his people and a stronghold for the children of Yasharal. Then you shall know that I am Yahuwah, your Most High, dwelling in Sion. There, you see how that is? You see how it just told you that? It said, and the heavens and the earth shall shake, but Yahuwah shall be a refuge for his people and a stronghold for the children of Yasharal. Because of that, then you shall know that I am Yahuwah, your Most High, dwelling in Zion, my set-apart mountain. And Jerusalem shall be set apart, and foreigners shall not pass through her again. And it shall be in that day that the mountains drip with new wine. You see? The mountains drip with new wine. That new wine that we were just reading back in Hosea, that Ephraim had, that defiled the people, that this is going to drip with new wine. The mountains will drip with new wine, new joy. Like, could you just think about all the joy that people have gotten from looking over there at that false, lying place? That's everything about it. The star on their flag is of Remphan. I've proved it right here on the channel. It represents the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. It represents a man and a woman having sex. It represents transhumanism, duality. It represents the mark of the beast and child sacrifice and pedophilia. Just the star alone. Then you take into account everything they teach with their oral law and all their traditions. They are the Mystery Babylon. They teach mysticism. It's no secret. Everything about it. The new wine for that place. Just imagine all the people who wanted to go there, who've went there and got baptized in the quote unquote Jordan, and just look at it with eyes of just, desire. Just imagine that that's all been a lie. Just like if you looked up at the night sky your whole life and thought, wow, we're spinning around right now. But we ain't. No, it doesn't feel like we're spinning around. It just seems like we're sitting here. But they say we're spinning. They say we went to the moon. They told me that Christmas was about the Messiah. They told me that Jesus was his name. They told me that Lord was the Father's name and that they were the same. All that All that new wine that you had has been proven to you that it's been nothing but rottenness underneath of you. Now, the mountains are going to drip with new wine, and the hills flow with milk, and the streams of Yehuda shall be flooded with water, with truth, and a fountain flow from the house of Yahuwah, and water the Wadi Shittim. Mitzrayim shall become a ruin, and Edom, that place I was just talking about, a ruin, a wilderness, because the violence done to the people of Yehuda, whose innocent blood they shed in their land. That's not literal, but it might as well be, because their eternal blood has been shed, has been destroyed. And it's not my words. The Most High tells you that the wrong shall not understand, the wrong shall perish. They perish for lack of knowledge, because they didn't care, not one bit, to look into, is that the real land? And what should have caught our attention was the star on the flag. As soon as we seen that flag, and we thought hook, line, and sinker that was the land, we should have started to ask questions when we saw the star, because in the commandments it says, you shall not have no graven image of anything in heaven. That should have been the first red flag right there, which should have compelled us to ask questions and continue to ask them until we got to the truth, like we're doing right now. But Yehuda shall dwell forever, and Jerusalem to all generations, and I shall avenge their blood, which I have not avenged, and Yahuwah shall be dwelling in Sion. Now let's go to Amos. Remember the other day, well, a couple times I think I've mentioned on here, how pretty much all of Scripture talks about the land and it being hidden, and there being a false prostitute where a harlot's fee is given. And if you got questions, ask me. Let's talk about it. You need to understand it. Did you see at the bottom of that, at the end of Hosea, where it says, you need to understand all these words? It's not just, he didn't just put it in there because he just likes writing words down. There's no way that men could have ever came up with such a wonder. That's why it keeps saying that Yahuwah does with us so wondrously. When you see what the words mean and you see what it's talking about, you'll know that no man wrote those words. He might have put the pen to the paper, but it was the Most High is the only one that could be that much of a genius to do the things that he's done. That's the whole secret that's being ended, that's coming to an end. The secret of the Most High. The words of Amos. Yeah, remember I told you that it's all over? Let's read Amos and you're going to see. The words of Amos, who was among the herdsmen of Tekoa, which he saw concerning Yasharal in the days of Uzziah, sovereign of Yehuda, and in the days of Jeroboam, son of Joash, sovereign of Yasharal, 2 years before the earthquake. And he said, Yahuwah, what roars from Sion? He gives forth his voice from Jerusalem, and the pastures of the shepherds shall mourn with the top of Carmel, and the top of Carmel shall wither. As he roars, the pastures of the shepherds, not the pastures of the Most High and of Yehuda, no, the pastures of the shepherds shall mourn. And the top of Carmel shall wither at the roaring of his voice. Thus said Yahuwah, for 3 transgressions of Damascus, and for 4 I do not turn it back, because they threshed Gilad with threshing implements of iron. But I shall send fire upon the house of Hazal, and it shall consume the palaces of Ben-Hadad. Remember that word. And I shall break the bar of Damascus, and cut off the inhabitant from the valley of Awan. Remember, I told you to remember that word. And the one who holds the scepter from Beth Eden, I told you to remember that one. And the people of Aram shall go exiled to Kir, said Yahuwah. Thus said Yahuwah, for 3 transgressions of Azah, and for 4 I do not turn it back, because they took into exile an entire exile, to surrender it to Edom. But I shall send fire upon the wall of Azah, and it shall consume its palaces. And I shall cut off the inhabitant from Ashdod, and the one who holds the scepter from Ashkelon. And I shall turn my hand against Ekron, and the remnant of the Philistines shall perish, said the Master Yahuwah. Thus said Yahuwah, for 3 transgressions of Sor, and for 4 I do not turn it back, because they surrendered an entire exile to Edom, and did not remember the what? The brotherly covenant. They didn't remember the covenant about the land. But I shall send fire upon the wall of Sor, and it shall consume its palaces. Thus said Yahuwah, for 3 transgressions of Edom, for 4 I do not turn it back, because he pursued his brother with the sword, with the word. He pursued him with the word, and cast off all compassion, didn't care one bit. And his displeasure tore incessantly, and he kept his wrath forever. But I shall send fire on Taman, and it shall consume the palaces of Basra. Thus said Yahuwah, for 3 transgressions, Ammon, and for 4 I do not turn it back, because they ripped open the pregnant woman in Gilad to enlarge their border. To enlarge their border. So I shall kindle a fire upon the wall of Rabbah, and it shall consume its palaces with a shout in the day of battle, with a storm in the day of the whirlwind. And the sovereign shall go into exile, he and his heads together, said Yahuwah. Thus said Yahuwah, for 3 transgressions of Moab, for 4 I do not turn it back, because he burned the bones of the sovereign of Edom to lime. But I shall send fire upon Moab, consume its palaces at Kerath. Moab shall die amid uproar, with a cry and with the voice of a shofar. They'll die. That's not literal. He's saying it will be no more what the world thought it was. It's going to come to a crashing. It's death from the uproar and from the cry with the voice of the shofar. And I shall cut off the judge from its midst, and call its heads with him, said Yahuwah. Thus said Yahuwah, for 3 transgressions of Yehuda, and for 4 I do not turn it back, because they have rejected Torah of Yahuwah, and did not guard his laws, and their lies, after which their fathers walked, led them astray. But I shall send fire upon Yehuda, and it shall consume the palaces of Jerusalem. Thus said Yahuwah, for 3 transgressions of Yasharal, and for 4 I do not turn it back, because they sell the righteous for silver, and the poor for a pair of sandals. When he says pair of sandals, what does sandals do? You use them so you can walk on the ground, on the soil. That's symbolic. Who crushed the head of the poor ones in what? The dust of the earth. Did you actually think when you read that, if you ever have read it, did you actually picture someone actually crushing someone's head literally into the dust of the earth? No. This is a parable. The dust of the earth. They hid the true location. They hid it with the earth and the dust of the earth. And in doing so, they crushed their head. And turn aside the way of the meek, and a man and his farmer and his father go into the same girl to defile my set-apart name. You see, that's not literal. He's not talking about a dad and a father going into the same girl. Not saying that's never happened before, but he's talking about Ephraim, Edom, the land. And they lie down by every slaughter place, on garments taken in pledge, and in the house of their mighty one they drink the wine of those who have been fined. Yet I destroyed the Amorite before them, whose height was like the height of the cedars. He destroyed the Amorite from before them, whose height was like the height of the cedars. And he was as strong as the oaks, yet I destroyed his fruit from above, and his roots from beneath. So we ripped him up, roots and all. And I brought you up from the land of Mitzrayim, and led you 40 years to the wilderness to possess the land of the Amorite. And I raised up some of your sons as prophets, some of your young men as Nazirites. Not so? He asked. Or your children, or you, O you children of Yasharal, declares Yahuwah, but you made the Nazirites drink wine, and commanded the prophets, saying, do not prophesy. Do not speak these words, like I'm sure people have already said to me tonight, and they'll continue to do so. See, I am weighed down by you as a wagon is weighed down when filled with sheaves, and a place to flee shall perish from the swift. A place to flee. Do you remember me telling you that there's only going to be one escape? If you're at one place of refuge, one place to escape, the Most High is not lying. I'm going to show you. I've been showing you, and I'm not going to stop, because you just seen, if you've been here this whole time tonight, you've seen me read that I'm to set apart a fast, call together an assembly. This is what you're supposed to be doing right now. And you're supposed to be here. You're supposed to be on your way. You're supposed to care one bit about your inheritance that the Most High gave you. That He spent so much time drawing you out of Egypt and everywhere you've been scattered. But most of y'all are like, whatever. I don't need to know about that. Yes, you do, actually. You do need to know. Because if you think you don't, that's just more transgression, more wrongness, more drunkenness on your part. And the wrong shall not understand. And remember when he said, are you wiser than Daniel? Has no secret been hidden from you? You think that just because you don't know about what the secret is, that there ain't still a secret that's life or death that exists? Well, there is. And a place to flee shall perish from the swift, and the strong not fortify his power, and the mighty not save his life. And he who handles the bow not stand, and the swift of foot not save, nor he who rides a horse saves his life. And the one potent of his heart among the mighty flee naked in that day, declares Yahuwah. Hear the word that Yahuwah has spoken against you, O children of Yasharal, against the entire clan which I brought up from the land of Mitzrayim, saying, you alone have I known of all the clans of the earth, therefore I punish you for all your crookednesses. There was one word I forgot to add in there just a second ago. Would two walk together without having met? Did you ever wonder what he's talking about there? Do two walk together without ever having met? Can there be a Yasharal over here and a Yasharal over there? Walking together in one direction? No. Does a lion roar in the forest when he has no prey? The fact that you've heard this video, you've been hearing me, you've seen other people telling you where the land is. That's proof. It lets you know what time we're in. We just seen it in His Word. And there's more of it I'll show you. There's no denying it. The time is at hand. You best get on the highway. Does a young lion give forth his voice out of his den unless he has caught? Does a bird fall into a snare on the earth where there is no trap for it? Does a snare spring up from the earth if it has not captured prey? If a shofar is blown in a city, do the people not tremble? Do they not tremble? No. Evidently, most people don't. They laugh about it. They think they don't need to know it, or that it's crazy. No, you should be shaking in your boots if you haven't decided. If you've thought this is crazy, you should be shaking in your boots, and you should be figuring out, it should be priority numero uno to start heading that way and to start telling people to head that way. If there is a calamity in a city, shall not Yahuwah have done it? If you see pretty soon, and you probably will, that fake place over there being smashed to smithereens, and you know, a lot of people are gonna, when that happens, it'll be just like when they realize the rapture hasn't happened. They'll be thinking, what is this? Is all a lie. God ain't real. That's what they'll think when that place over there gets smashed to smithereens. But he's letting you know right there. Would Yahuwah not have done it? Yeah, he did. For the Master Yahuwah does no matter unless he reveals his secret to his servants, the prophets. Now, see, was I lying when I said that you were going to learn if you could hang tight and not push that, hit that dial, that you would learn what the secret of the Most High is? The secret of the Most High is that he kicked his children out of the land for all the wicked crookedness that they did, and he hid the land, and because of all the crookedness of the people that they've done in these other lands, that they've completely even forgotten where the land is. It's the land of no remembrance. I'm going to show you that too. But ultimately, through him kicking out, hiding, him telling and them refusing to hear, and then him drawing us out one by one, I can't even begin to tell you the miraculous journey I've been on in seeing this. I can't. There's no words. Can't even describe it. But all that, and to bring us back, everything, it's all for his magnificent glory. It's magnificent. A lion has roared, who is not afraid? The Master Yahuwah has spoken, who would not prophesy? Cry out at the palaces in Ashdod, and at the palaces in the land of Mitzrayim, and say, gather on the mountains of Samaria, and see the many unrest in her midst, and the oppressed ones within her. They do not know to do what is right, declares Yahuwah. These who store up plunder and loot in their palaces. Therefore thus said the Master Yahuwah, an enemy even all around the land, and he shall bring down your strength from you, and your palaces shall be plundered. Thus said Yahuwah, as a shepherd rescues from the mouth of a lion 2 legs or a piece of an ear, so are the children of Yasharal who dwell in Samaria to be rescued. In the corner of a bed and on the edge of a couch. Remember them phrases, in the corner of a bed or on the edge of a couch. He says this all through his word when he's talking about the land, and it's everywhere. And just think about that for a second. In the corner of the bed and on the edge of the couch. If you have someone over, say when you were young you went and stayed at someone's house, your friend's house or whatever, that's not your house. Nothing in there is yours. The bedroom ain't yours. The bed ain't. The bathroom. If you're there, you probably slept on the edge of the corner of a bed or on the edge of a couch. That's what all his people that are over there, they think that they're in that land, or the people who still see that as the land. That's what he's referring to, in the corner of a bed or on the edge of a couch. Hear and witness against the house of Jacob, declares the Master Yahuwah, the Most High of Hosts. For in the day I visit Yasharal for their transgressions, I shall also punish concerning the slaughter places of Beth El And the horns of the slaughter place shall be broken. So anyone talking about that fake false slaughter place in Bethel, and they shall fall to the ground. And I shall strike the winter house along with the summer house, and the houses of ivory shall perish, and the great houses shall be swept away, declares YAHUAH. Hear the word, you cows of Bashan, who are on the mountain of Samaria, who are oppressing the poor, who are crushing the needy, who are saying to their masters, bring wine, let us drink. The shepherds who deceive the poor and the needy into believing that that's the land. When they come there to that land and they go take a holy tour, or they give it, they desire to be there, or they lust after it or whatever, that's wine for those liars to drink. The Master YAHUAH has sworn by his set apartness, see, days are coming upon you when he shall take you away with hooks, and your descendants with fish hooks, and let you go out at the breaches, remember that word, the breaches, each woman before her, and you shall cast out toward Harmon, declares YAHUAH. Come to Bethel and transgress to Gilgal, increase transgressions, and bring your slaughterings every morning, your tithes every 3 days, and burn an offering of thanksgiving with leaven. Proclaim voluntary offerings. And it's voluntary. No one's ever told you that that's where it is. Really, they didn't prove that. There's no proof. People just do it voluntarily, like I told you. They'll often say, "Well, the Bible tells me that that's where it is, that that's Israel." Oh, it does? It tells you that's where it is? No, you're being misled. It doesn't. For you have loved this, you children of Yasharal, declares the Master YAHUAH. Have they all not loved it? Yes, I know plenty of them. Millions and millions of people, if not billions. And I also gave you cleanness of teeth in all your cities, and lack of bread in all your places. That means there was no word there of truth. Nothing. But you did not turn back to me, declares YAHUAH. And I also withheld rain from you, nothing washed, nothing away, 3 new moons before the harvest. Then I would send rain on one city, and on another city I would not send rain. You see? One part was rained upon, and where it did not rain, the part would dry up. Dry up. Then 2 or 3 cities would wander to another city to drink water, but they were not satisfied, because that water that they got when they were there was mud. It was blood. It was not clean water, which means the truth. There was no truth. But you did not turn back to me, declares YAHUAH. I have stricken you with blight and with mildew. With mildew. Like you leave something in the fridge for too long, It's bad. It needs to be thrown out, right? Yeah. The creeping locust devoured your many gardens, and your vineyards, and your fig trees, and your olive trees, but you did not turn back to me, declares YAHUAH. I have sent among you a plague in the way of Mitzrayim. I have killed your young men with a sword, with the word, along with your captured horses, with whatever vehicle someone could get on to get out of that lie, of that BS. And I have stretched and I made the stench of your camps come up in your nostrils, but you did not turn back to me, declares YAHUAH. I have overthrown some of you, as the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah, and you were like a burning stick plucked up from the burning, but you did not turn back to me, declares YAHUAH. Therefore I am doing this to you, O Yasharal, because I do this to you. Prepare to meet your mighty Most High, O Yasharal. For look, he forms mountains and creates the wind, and who declares to man what his thought is, and makes the morning darkness, and who treads the high places of the earth. YAHUAH, the Most High of hosts, is his name. Hear the word which I take up against you, this lamentation. Remember that word lamentation, because all of Lamentations, that's what it's about. It's what you should be doing. Remember, a long time ago, I said, I made that video, a call for lamentation. We should all be making a call for lamentation regarding the set-apart land that mourns for her people, her children, to return to her, who give her no mind whatsoever, pays no mind to her, and trades whatever wine that they drink for it to some other false, lying, horrible, rotten, child pedophilia place. Yeah. O house of Yasharal, the maiden of Yasharal has fallen not to rise again. She lies forsaken on her land with no one to lift her up. For thus said the Master Yahuwah, the city that goes out by 1,000 has 100 left, and that which goes out by 100 has 10 left to the house of Yasharal. For thus said Yahuwah to the house of Yasharal, seek me and live. But do not seek Bethel and live. See, remember, was I BSing you one bit when I said this is a matter of life and death? Seek him and live. But do not seek Bethel, nor enter Gilgal, nor pass over to Beersheba, for Gilgal shall certainly go into exile, and Bethel become a non-entity. A non-entity. Seek Yahuwah and live, lest he break out like fire upon the house of Joseph, and shall consume it with no one to quench it in Bethel. If you don't come out of Bethel, you're gonna die. O you who are turning right ruling to wormwood, and have cast down righteousness to the earth, He who made Kamah and Kessel, and who turns the shadow of death into morning and darkened day into night. You ever wondered what the shadow of death is? That's that secret. The shadow of death is a shadow over the true set-apart land to most people. But he who does that, he can turn it into morning and darkened day into night, who is calling for the waters of the sea and pours them out on the face of the earth. Yahuwah is his name. Who is flashing forth destruction upon the strong, so that destruction comes upon the stronghold. They hated the one who reproves in the gate. Here I am, reproving in the gate. There's a reason it says in the gate. Like I said, he don't just put words in there for no reason. There's a reason he said that. There's a reason he showed us in Ezekiel about the measurements of the Hakal, and that the gates were of pearls. All the measurements, all the gates, all the design of the house. There's a reason. It's all, he's led us to this. There's a reason that he showed us all that he showed me last year in my 41st birthday, about 41 and 144. And then this year, ever since my 42nd birthday, about the 42, title 42, the invasion of the strongholds, 24. I mean, I could go on and on. And they despise the one who speaks the truth. Therefore, because you trample on the poor and take grain taxes from him, you have built houses of hewn stone, but you are not going to dwell in them. You have planted pleasant vineyards, but not drink wine from them. For I know your transgressions are many, and your sins are great, afflicting the righteous and accepting bribes and turning aside the poor at the gate. Therefore the wise keep silent at that time, for it is an evil time. Seek good and not live, so that you live. Seek good and not live, so that you live. And let Yahuwah, the Most High of Hosts, be with you as you have spoken. Hate evil and love good, and set up right ruling in the gate. It might be that Yahuwah the Most High of Hosts shows favor to the remnant of Joseph. Therefore Yahuwah the Most High of Hosts said this, there is wailing in all open squares, and in all the streets they say, Alas, alas, and shall call the farmer to mourning and skilled lamenters to wailing. And in all vineyards there is wailing, for I pass through your midst, said Yahuwah. Woe to you who are longing for the day of Yahuwah. This is really key too. You want to pay attention to this. What does the day of Yahuwah mean to you? It is darkness and not light, as when a man flees from a lion. What's the day? Those people who were saying, I just wish this would get over and the Most High would just return already and Messiah would return. Really? Because if you ain't give no cares, zero F's about the land, and you refuse to turn and bow towards it and head towards it and lament, what is it to you? What is the day? Is when a man flees from a lion, and a bear shall meet him. So what is it to you? When you flee from the roaring lion, the voice, you know what happens? A bear shall meet him. Or it's like when you entered the house and rested your hand on the wall because you thought you were home, a serpent shall bite him. You see? Now you see how all this is making sense? All this stuff that you were, if you were like me, you probably read it before and it made no sense to you. Or you might have thought it meant this. No, you can see exactly what it means right now. Exactly. Is not the day of Yahuwah darkness and not light? Is it not very dark with no brightness in it? I have hated, I have despised your festivals. I am not pleased with your assemblies. Nothing you do. He don't care about none of that. Though you offer me ascending offerings and your grain offerings, I do not accept them, nor do I look on your fattened peace offerings. Take away from me the noise of your songs. Remember, I told you to remember songs and singing, right? You're going to see there's two different, when he talks about songs, there's two different songs he talks about. One, he says, when you remember the land and you return, he says, break forth in song, sing, rejoice, be happy. Let the mountains rejoice, let the earth rejoice, and spring forth like a blossom. Or, when he's talking about their song, the evil town, and their song, he hates it. He says, take away from me the noise of your songs, for I do not hear the sound of your stringed instruments. And let right ruling roll on like water, and righteousness like a mighty stream. You brought me slaughterings and meal offerings in the wilderness for 40 years, O house of Yasharal. But you took up Sukkot, your sovereign Kayun, that star. They say it's the Star of David. That's what he's talking about right there. That you rested in their land and began to give reverence, observation to it. Your idols, your astral mighty ones, which you made for yourselves. Therefore I shall send you into exile beyond Damascus, said Yahuwah of hosts. Yahuwah is his name. Woe to those at ease in Sion, and those trusting in Mount Samaria, the distinguished ones among the chief of the nations, to whom the house of Yasharal comes. Pass over to Kalna and see, and from there go to Hamath the great, then go down to Gath of the Philistines. Are you better than these reigns, or is their border greater than your border? You who are putting off the day of evil, yet bring near the seat of violence. You who are lying on beds of ivory. Remember, I told you to pay attention to beds and couches, and are stretched out on your couches, are eating lambs from the flock and calves from the midst of the stall. That's not literal. Who are singing to the sound of the harp, having composed songs for themselves like Daoud, like David. You're singing, making a song, and that's not literal, but you're making a song as if you are Yerushalayim, Zion. He hates it. I would too. Who are drinking wine from bowls and anoint with the finest ointments, yet they have not been pained over the breach of Joseph. Breach. Not been pained. These people, most people, could even be you, don't care about the breach of Joseph. You need to know the breach. Therefore they shall now go into exile with the first of the exiles, and the feasting of the stretched out ones shall cease. The stretched out ones on the bed and on the couch shall cease. The Master Yahuwah has sworn by himself. Yahuwah, the Most High of Hosts, declares, I am loathing the pride of Jacob, and I have hated his palaces. Therefore I shall deliver up the city and all that is in it. And it shall be that if 10 men remain in one house, they shall die. All of them will die. You've been warned. When it happens, don't act like you ain't been warned. And if an uncle or his undertaker bring the remains out of the house, he shall say to one inside the house, is anyone with you? And he says no, then he shall say, hush, for we have not remembered the name of Yahuwah. For look, Yahuwah is commanding, and he shall strike the great house with breaches, and the little house with clefts. Do horses run on a rock? Does one plow it with oxen? For you have turned right ruling into poison, and the fruit of righteousness into wormwood, into bitterness. You who are rejoicing over a matter of nothing, who say, have we not taken horns for ourselves by our own strength? For look, I am raising up a nation against you, O house of Yasharal, declares Yahuwah, the Most High of Hosts, and they shall oppress you from the entrance of Hamath to the Wadi Araba. This is what the Master Yahuwah showed me. And see, he was forming locust swarms at the beginning of the late crop. And see, it was the late crop after the mowings of the sovereign. And it came to be when they had finished eating the grass of the land that I said, O Master Yahuwah, forgive, I pray. How does Jacob survive, for he is small? Yahuwah relenting concerning this, it shall not be, said Yahuwah. This is what the Master Yahuwah showed me. And see, the Master Yahuwah was calling to contend by fire, and it consumed the great deep and did consume the portion. And I said, O Master Yahuwah, please stop. How does Jacob survive, for he is small? Yahuwah relented concerning this. This shall not be either, and said the Master Yahuwah. This is what he showed me. And see, Yahuwah stood on a wall and made a plumb line with a plumb line in his hand. Remember those words, plumb line. If you've been here for a while, you should know what it means when it's talking about plumb line. It's the measurements of the call of the set apart place. When he says rod, it's the measurements. He's talking about the land. And Yahuwah said to me, Amos, what do you see? And I said, I see a plumb line. And Yahuwah said, see, I am setting a plumb line in the midst of my people, Yasharal. No longer do I pardon them. And the high places of Yishtag shall be laid waste, and the set-apart places of Yasharal shall be destroyed. The fake ones that they've made for themselves. And I shall rise with the sword against the house of Jeroboam. With the sword, with the word. That's what's happening right now. That's what's been happening to me. Then Amashah, the priest of Bethel, sent to Jeroboam, sovereign of Yasharal, saying, Amos has conspired against you in the midst of the house of Yasharal. The land is not able to endure all his words. For this is what Amos said, Jeroboam shall die by the sword, and Yasharal certainly be exiled from their own land. And Amashah said to Amos, go, you seer, you see where the land is, flee to the land of Yehuda and eat bread and prophesy there. But do not prophesy anymore at Bethel, for it is the sovereign set-apart place, and it is the house of the rain. And Amos answered and said to Amashah, I am not a prophet, nor am I a son of a prophet, for I am a herdsman and a grower of sycamore figs. But Yahuwah took me from behind the flock, and Yahuwah said to me, go prophesy to my people, YAHUAH. And now hear the word of Yahuwah. You are saying, do not prophesy against YAHUAH. Do not drop words against the house of Yishtag. Therefore thus said Yahuwah, your wife shall become a whore in the city, and your sons and daughters fall by the sword, and your land be divided by a measuring line, and you die in a defiled land, and YAHUAH shall certainly be exiled from its land. This is what Yahuwah, the Master Yahuwah, showed me, and see a basket of summer fruit. And he said, Amos, what do you see? And I said, a basket of summer fruit. And Yahuwah said to me, the end has come upon my people, YAHUAH. No longer do I pardon them. And the songs of the Hakal shall be wailing in that day. Now you can say what you want, but anytime you've heard me on here talking about the land, and it's been a lot, it's been for a little while now, it's been a song of the Hakal. When you hear it wailing in that day, declares the Master Yahuwah, you're going to know what time it is. That the day, right there, he says, no longer do I pardon them. The end has come upon my people. No longer. When you hear the songs of the Hakal, many dead bodies everywhere thrown into any place. Hush. Hear this, you who are swallowing up the needy to do away with the poor of the land, saying, when does the new moon pass, so that we sell grain, and the Sabbath, so that we trade our wheat, to make the ephah small and the shekel large, and to falsify the scales by deceit, to buy the poor for silver and the needy for a pair of sandals. You see, this is about the land. And sell the chaff of the wheat. Yahuwah has sworn by the excellency of Jacob, I shall never forget any of their works. Shall the land not tremble for this, and everyone mourn who dwells in it? And all of it shall swell like the river, heave and subside like the river of Mizraim. And it shall be in that day, declares the Master Yahuwah, that I shall cause the sun to go down at noon, and shall darken the earth, and on a day of brightness, and shall turn your festivals into mourning, all your songs into lamentation, and bring sackcloth on all loins, and baldness on every head, and shall make it like mourning for an only son, and its end like a day of bitterness. See, days are coming, declares the Master Yahuwah, that I shall send a hunger in the land, not a hunger for bread, nor of thirst for water, but for hearing the words of Yahuwah. And they shall wander from sea to sea, from the north to east. They shall diligently search, seeking the word of Yahuwah, but they shall not find it. In that day the beautiful maidens and strong young men shall faint from thirst, those swearing by the guilt of Samaria, swearing by it. You won't find it, the word. Who say, as your mighty one lives, O Dan, and as the way of Beersheba lives, and they shall fall and never rise again. I saw Yahuwah standing by the slaughter place, and he said, strike the column head, so that the threshold shake, and break them off by the head, all of them, and the last of them I kill with the sword. Not one of them fleeing gets away. Not one fugitive of them escapes. If they dig into Sheol from there, my hand does take them. If they climb up to the heavens, from there I bring them down. If they hide themselves on top of Carmel, from there I shall search and take them. And if they hide from before my eyes at the bottom of the sea, from there I shall command the serpent, and it shall bite them. If they go into captivity before their enemies, from there I shall command the sword, and it shall kill them. If they go into captivity, remember that. And I shall set my eyes on them for evil and not for good. And the Master Yahuwah of hosts is he who touches the earth, so that it melts. That's not literal. This is a parable. And all who dwell in it mourn, and all of it come up like the river and subside like the river of Mizraim, who is building his upper room in the heavens, and has founded his firmament on the earth, who is calling for the waters of the sea and pours them out on the face of the earth. YAHUAH is his name. Are you not like the people of Cush to me, O children of Yasharal? Declares YAHUAH, did I not bring up Yasharal from the land of Egypt, and the Philistines from Kaphtar, or Aram from Kir? Look, the eyes of the master, YAHUAH, are on the sinful reign, and I shall destroy it from the face of the earth, except that I do not completely destroy the house of Jacob, declares YAHUAH. For look, I am commanding, and I shall sift. Commanding and sift the house of Yasharal among all the nations, as one sifts with a sieve, yet not a grain falls to the ground. All the sinners of my people are going to die by the sword, those who are saying, evil does not overtake us, nor meet us. In that day I shall raise up a booth of David, which has fallen down. I shall repair its breaches, and raise up its ruins, and I shall build it as in the days of old, so that they possess the remnant of Edom, and all the nations on whom my name is called, declares YAHUAH, who does this. Look, the days are coming, declares YAHUAH, that the plowman shall overtake the reaper, and the treader of grapes him who sows seed, and the mountain shall drip new wine, and all the hills melt. And I shall turn back the captivity of my people Yasharal, and they shall build the waste cities and inhabit them, and they shall plant vineyards and drink wine from them, and shall make the gardens and eat their fruit, and I shall plant them on their own soil, and not uproot them any more from their own soil I have given them, said YAHUAH, the mighty Most High. Okay, so look, I'm not going to read Obadiah, but you could just keep reading Obadiah. You could go to Ecclesiastes, and you can read Ecclesiastes, and you'll be reading about the same thing. And if you go to Lamentations, you'll be reading about that. If you go to Jeremiah, you'll be reading about that. Isaiah, Ezekiel, all the prophets, you'll be reading about the city, and a lot of everywhere else. But let's go, because I've already been on here longer than I've ever been, over 2 hours. But I knew that it would take this long, and I'm not done. I haven't even began to reveal on here all of what that the Most High has shown me. I've been staring at His Word for so long, and it so hard reading all this that my eyes are hurting, but I'm not going to stop. So, well, let's go back to Revelation here. I think it was chapter 10. Yeah, you see, this is where we started out. But in the days of the sounding of the seventh messenger, when he is about to sound, the secret of the Most High shall also be ended, as he declared to his servants the prophets. Take it from the top. And I saw another strong messenger coming down from the heaven, robed in a cloud, and a rainbow on his head, and his face was like the sun, and his feet like columns of fire. And having in his hand a little book opened, and he placed his right foot on the sea and his left foot on the land. Now, you ever wondered why he did that? I guess I really never paid no attention. But there's a reason that he says, 1 foot on the sea and 1 foot on the land. And cried with a loud voice, as what? As when a lion roars. And as when a lion roars, and when he cried out, 7 thunders spoke their sounds. And when the 7 thunders spoke their sounds, I was about to write, but I heard a voice from the heaven saying to me, seal up what the 7 thunders spoke, and do not write them. And the messenger whom I saw standing on the sea and on the land lifted up his right hand to the heaven, and swore by him who lives forever and ever, who created the heaven and what is in it, who created the earth and what is in it. The Rothschilds didn't create all that. NASA. No, this is Abba Yahuwah. He did. That there shall be no further delay, but in the days of the sounding of the seventh messenger, when he is about to sound, the secret of the Most High shall be ended, as he declared to his servants the prophets. So the secret has ended as far as it is with me. I don't know. I know there's other people that know that the land is here, but I don't know if they realize that that's all the scripture talks about, basically. I don't know. But, hold on. But one thing you need to understand is that the seventh messenger is about to sound when the secret has ended. So I would say it's pretty soon. And the voice which I heard out of the heaven spoke to me again and said, Go, take the little book which is opened in the hand of the messenger, standing on the sea and on the earth. And I went to the messenger and said to him, Give me a little book. Give me the little book. And he said to me, Take and eat it, and it shall make your stomach bitter, and it shall be as sweet as honey in your mouth. For I took the little book, out of the messenger's hand and ate it, and it was as sweet as honey in my mouth. But when I had eaten it, my stomach was made bitter. And where else have you heard those same words spoken? That same thing happened. It happened to Ezekiel right before he was shown the Hakal and the measurements. Yes. And he said to me, You have to prophesy again concerning many peoples and nations and tongues and sovereigns. And a reed like a measuring rod was given to me. And the messenger stood, saying, Rise and measure the dwelling place of the Most High, and the slaughter place, and those worshiping in it. But cast out the court which is outside the dwelling place, and do not measure it, for it has been given to the nations, and they shall trample the set-apart city underfoot for what? For how long? For 42 months. So if you've been here for a while and you've heard all the 42 stuff I've been talking about, is it any coinky-dink now? Why? We were shown all that, and we're shown all this? Shouldn't be. And I shall give unto my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clad in sackcloth, in rags, not with brand new trucks and cars and houses. These are the 2 olive trees and the 2 lampstands that are standing before the Most High of the earth. And them words aren't just in there for no reason. I'll just keep saying it. I don't know how many times, how much emphasis, all the emphasis needs to be put on it. And if anyone wishes to harm them, fire comes out from their mouth and consumes their enemies. And if anyone wishes to harm them, he has to be killed in that way. These possess authority to shut the heaven, the truth, so that no rain falls in the days of their prophecy. See all them times, if you were like me and you read before and thought it was meaning literal rain? No. Now you see that it wasn't, was it? And they possess authority over waters to turn them to blood. Now, if you think about what that could mean, water, a dead person, a living person, your blood is flowing through your veins. Water is the truth. So if the waters turned them to blood, and there's another area in this book where it says, like, as of a dead man, it's not flowing anymore. It's coagulated. It's the opposite of truth. Waters turn them to blood, and to smite the earth with all plagues as often as they wish. And when they have ended their witness, the beast coming up out of the pit of the deep shall fight against them and overcome them and kill them. And their dead bodies lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom, and Mitzrayim, where also our master was impaled. Now, there's one thing I want to tell you. I don't know if I've mentioned it on here or not. I don't know. But if I haven't in a while, I'm going to repeat it. The night I began to see where the land was, I was shown it in Scripture. My son was sleeping. The next morning I woke up. I was going to tell him about it because I like to talk about this stuff with him. And when I woke up, he was awake, and before I could say anything, he said that he had a dream that America was Israel, and that the Most High took me and him and showed me and him this big face on the side of a mountain, a rock face. Later on, I end up finding the face in the map, and he said that the Most High showed us where the Messiah was hung, and he said, and it wasn't on a cross, Dad, it was a big tall tree. He said, and he showed us where the blood, you could see where the blood ran down the tree and into the ground. And I don't talk about this stuff with him that was a dream from Abba. There was nothing being said or done that would have caused him to think all that stuff. It was impossible. And he said after that, Abba brought me and him to a fence. He said, and then I pulled out wire cutters out of my pocket, and I clipped us a hole in the fence, and when we went through, he said it was like heaven. Flowers started to blossom right before our eyes, big massive flowers. If you don't believe me, maybe if you meet him someday you can ask him. That's exactly what he said. So, and some of the peoples and tribes and tongues and nations see their dead bodies for 3.5 days and not allow their dead bodies to be placed into tombs. And those dwelling on the earth rejoice over them and exalt. Why do you think they would exalt? Because they don't want their secret to get out. And they shall send gifts to each other, because these two prophets tortured those dwelling on the earth. Who else would they torture? Don't all, you understand why it said that. And after the 3.5 days, a spirit of life from the Most High entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell on those who saw them. And they heard a loud voice from the heaven saying to them, come up here. And they went up into the heaven in a cloud, and their enemies saw them. And in that hour there came to be a great earthquake, and 1/10 of the city fell. And in the earthquake 7,000 men were killed, and the rest became afraid and gave esteem to the Most High of the heaven. The second woe is past, and see, the third woe is coming speedily. And the seventh messenger sounded, and there came to be loud voices in the heaven saying, the reign of this world has become the reign of our master and of his Messiah, and he shall reign forever and ever. Right now, there's a place that claims to reign here on the earth. And Abba you haven't heard the voice of a lion roaring, or his voice. We haven't been gathered to over there in Palestine. That's another way you can have it confirmed to you that is complete BS. It's falsehood. Because all through the scripture, when you go read Isaiah, Ezekiel, Jeremiah, he says, when I bring them back to the land, I'm going to make an end to all the other nations. Babylon will fall. That hasn't happened. So therefore you know that that's BS. And the 24 elders, and there's that 24 again, 42, sitting before the Most High on their thrones, fell on their faces and worshiped the Most High, saying, we give you thanks, O Yahuwah El Shaddai of mountains, the one who is, the one who was, and who is coming, because you have taken your great power and reigned. And the nations were enraged, and your wrath has come, and the time of the dead to be judged, and to give the reward to your servants, the prophets, and to the set-apart ones, to those who fear your name, small and great, and to destroy those who destroy what? The earth. They destroy the earth. And the dwelling place of the Most High was opened in the heaven, and the ark of his covenant was seen in his dwelling place, and there came to be lightnings and voices and thunders and an earthquake and great hail. Now you keep reading, and it's all in Revelations. But let me show you just a couple real quick scripts, and then I'll let you go, just to go ahead and back it on up even more, what he's showing you. So let's go to Jeremiah, is it 51? Yep. No. Oh, right here. Yep. You who have escaped the sword, the lie, go away. Do not stand still. Don't stand still. Remember Yahuwah from afar, and what? Let Yerushalayim come to your heart. That's what you have to do. For strangers have come into the set apart places of the house of Yahuwah. Now, let's check out Isaiah. We say to the seers, do not see. It's all through here. All this stuff it's just everywhere. It'll all be opened up to you if you want to live. Right here, therefore this crookedness is to you like a breach ready to fall, a bulge in a high wall whose breaking comes suddenly, swiftly. That's that breach of the oppression, of the perverseness. But maybe it's in 31. Yeah, right here. For this is what Yahuwah has said to me, as a lion roars and a young lion over his prey, though a band of shepherds is calling out against him, though a band of shepherds is calling out against him, he is not afraid of their voice, nor disturbed by their noise. So Yahuwah of hosts shall come down to fight upon Mount Sion and upon its hill. Like hovering birds, so does Yahuwah of hosts protect Jerusalem, protecting and delivering, passing over and rescuing. Turn back to him from whom the children of Yasharal have deeply fallen away. Do you see that? Now, let's go. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the esteem of Yahuwah has risen upon you. For look, darkness covers the earth, and thick darkness the peoples, but Yahuwah rises over you, and his esteem is seen upon you. The nations shall come to your light, the sovereigns, the brightness of your rising. Lift up your eyes all around and see. All of them have gathered. They have come to you. Your sons come from afar. Your daughters are supported on the side. Then you shall see and be bright, and your heart shall throb and swell, for the wealth of the sea is turned to you. The riches of the nations shall come to you. You see that? It's everywhere. So we'll go to 61. You could read it and find it in 61. 62. For Sion's sake I am not silent. For Jerusalem's sake I do not rest, until her righteousness goes forth as brightness, and her deliverance as a lamp that burns. That way, until everybody sees it. And the nations shall see your righteousness, and all sovereigns your esteem, and you shall be called by a new name, which the mouth of Yahuwah designates. And you shall be a crown of comeliness in the hand of Yahuwah, and a royal headdress in the hand of your Most High. No longer are you called forsaken, no longer is your land called deserted, but you shall be called Heshtabah, and your land married, and you shall be, for Yahuwah shall delight in you, and your land be married. And right here, this is the last thing I'm going to read, and I'm going to leave you, but this is what you definitely need to pay attention to this as well. I have set watchmen on your walls, O Jerusalem, all the day and all the night continually, who are not silent. You who remember Yahuwah, give yourselves no rest. Aye, Abba, here I am. And give him no rest till he establishes, until he makes Jerusalem a praise in the earth. Yahuwah has sworn by his right hand, by the arm of his strength, the Messiah, no more the truth. No more do I give your grain to be food for your enemies, the people, the worship, all that. Nor do sons of the foreigner drink your new wine, for which you have labored. But those gathering it shall eat it, and praise Yahuwah, and those collecting it shall drink it in my set-apart courts. Pass through the gates, prepare the way for the people, build up the highway, remove the stones. Yeah, and there's other places where it says the thorns and the briars, remove them. Lift up a banner for the peoples. See, Yahuwah has proclaimed to the end of the earth. Say to the daughter of Zion, see, your deliverance has come. See, his reward is with him, and his work before him. And they shall be called the set-apart people, the redeemed of Yahuwah, and you shall be called sought out, a city not forsaken. Hallelujah, Yahuwah. All honor, all praise, all glory, and all esteem to Abba, Yahuwah, the Most High, our wonderful Creator, our righteousness, face down and towards Zion.